Witam Państwa bardzo serdecznie. Nazywam się Kamil Chojnowski i jestem wykładowcą na Szwedzkim Uniwersytecie Nauk Rolniczych z siedzibą w Olnarp. Uzyskałem wykształcenie architekta krajobrazu w Polsce oraz w Szwecji. Większość mojego czasu poświęcam dydaktyce na kierunkach architektura krajobrazu, inżynieria krajobrazu, ogrodnictwo oraz leśnictwo. Nauczam głównie dendrologii, projektowania ogrodów oraz miejsc publicznych, urbanistyki i planowania przestrzennego, historii sztuki ogrodowej, a także projektowania oranżerii. Pochodzę z Suwałk i kocham krajobraz Suwalszczyzny, dlatego tematyka konferencji w krajobrazie Mazur bardzo mnie zainteresowała. Panie Mariuszu, bardzo się cieszę, że znowu mieliśmy możliwość współpracować oraz dziękuję bardzo za zaproszenie nas do udziału w tej konferencji. Dzisiaj mam przyjemność zaprezentować Państwu razem z moimi współpracowniczkami Instytutu, Heleną oraz Lisą, krótki materiał o ruralistyce i jej wyzwaniach w Szwecji. Now I will switch to English, and before we start our presentation, I will let my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Norfall. I am a landscape architect and a teacher here at SLU Alnarp. I'm a teacher in landscape architecture, landscape planning, and I work a lot with regional and municipal processes and landscape development. And my background is that I have worked in landscape development and in landscape planning practice in different Swedish contexts. I'm really happy to be here and thank you for inviting us.
Yes, thank you for inviting us. My name is Helena Mellqvist. I'm a landscape architect here at the Swedish University of Agricultural Science. I defended my PhD a couple of years ago with the title I must read, The Canister Method, the study on long-term participation in landscape planning. And so I do some research on participatory methods in management and planning of our landscapes. And I teach in most of our programs, especially in landscape architecture. And I'm very interested in peri-urban landscape planning, what is happening in the landscape outside the dense city center. So thank you for having us.
So together we would like to present rural challenges in landscape development with examples from Sweden. And our first point in the presentation would be discussing how does regional planning affect rural development in Sweden, which Lisa would like to talk about. Please, Lisa.
Yes, in Sweden we have a Planning and Building Act that sets the frames for how we're planning our landscapes. And of course, universal to all planning, no matter where it's conducted, is that it has to do with scale. So we handle development issues from global challenges down to the local street or tree or house. And the national and regional levels of the physical planning or in Sweden is not that profound. Of course, the government sets boundaries, mainly by pointing out large areas of national interest that could be for military use or nature restoration or national roads and railroads. But a lot of the day-to-day planning and management is handed down to the local municipalities. And let's look at the next slide, because in Sweden we have 290 municipalities, and these go from the quite sparsely populated northern inlands to the more populated and urbanized municipalities along the coasts and in the southern parts of the country. And the typical municipality is about 90 square kilometers big and inhabits approximately 15,000 citizens. And in Sweden, municipalities hold what we call a planning monopoly, meaning that municipalities are responsible for all planning within the municipal borders. So they have a large responsibility for the land use and also a big amount of power, of course. So in summary, in Sweden, a large portion of power over land use planning is placed on the local municipality. So they are responsible for both policy making within the municipal borders as well as landscape development on all scales.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for presenting this. So let us look how one example as one municipality can handle challenges that we are facing. So Helena, would you like to talk about a case in Falstebro, which is about climate protection and mitigation in southern Scania?
Yes, exactly. This example is from a very low-lying cape in the very southern part of Sweden. I will show you. Here we have Scania, the southern region, Scania Falstebro on the left. And here we have the project area. So this protective dike that is about to be constructed here, it will run in the coastal areas around the peninsula. It consists of plant-covered dikes and a wall-like construction together with existing sand dunes. It forms protection against the future high tides. And this dike is it's planned to primarily protect the area until 2065. This is an area where this increased threat of climate-related sea level rise and storm surge is a great problem here. And just as soon as last October, the storm Babette did not pass unnoticed here. The Falstebro is situated in the municipality of Vellinge, a wealthy municipality with an attractive housing area close to the sea. And this is, of course, where this is happening. So here you see different phases of the construction of this wall and dike that will be constructed. The yellow is where the dike will be, and the red is where the wall will be constructed. And why we will have a wall and not only nature-based solutions is because the landscape does not permit a large dike everywhere. So this is what it looks like, the dike on the top and the wall. In total, approximately 21 kilometers of flood defenses are to be built. 3/4 will be a natural embankment, including clay, with a surface layer consisting of vegetation of a type that already exists in the area, the coastal vegetation. On a quarter of the route, due to the lack of space, the protection will consist of this wall-like construction you see on the dam. The crest of the dike will be 3 meters above sea level, including the existing ground level. 80% of the constructed protection will be lower than 1.5 meters above the ground. And this is what it looks like during the construction that just started this summer, actually. It is, of course, a very long process. And this is what it will look like when it's finalized. And it is the protection dike is a project of the Vellinge municipality, but it is partly financed by grants from the Swedish Agency for Community Safety and Emergency Preparedness and from the EU. The latter contribution comes via the LIFE Fund, which, among other things, co-finances projects that work to improve biological diversity. And the municipality has actually struggled with this dike for about 15 years or more. The inhabitants did not appreciate the idea, and because the wall blocked their view and changed the landscape, and thereby the politician didn't appreciate it either. So people working at the municipality really had to struggle, and they felt quite alone with this huge project of building this protection wall.
Thank you very much, Helena. I think it's very important to look at these examples because we are going to face these challenges, especially coastal environments, municipalities or cities. Just to change a little bit focus, I think Lisa would like to present something totally different on a different scale and in a different part of Sweden. And let us look at large-scale green industries in northern Sweden.
Definitely another setting and another issue. But you might have heard of some of the large-scale industrial investments that are being done in northern parts of Sweden and Scandinavia. For example, we have the large battery factory in Norfall in Skellefteå that is already built. And this is about the northern Swedish municipality of Boden and the establishment of H2 green steel, that is a carbon dioxide neutral steel factory. And this is sometimes referred to as a positive crisis, where we need to do a green transition that is on the global agenda. And it is a possible positive change, but still for the local societies where this happens, it's kind of a crisis as well. This is the northern city of Boden, and the biggest investment done in many years is this very big factory called H2 Green Steel. And this factory has a footprint of 500 hectares, and a lot of forest has already been cleared. And even if this is a large investment that is bringing a lot of new people to the local community, as well as a demand for new housing, there is also a pressure on the local community that they need to grow very rapidly to match all of these new needs. Boden has had 40 plus years of very slow and steady growth. And now the municipality needs to do major investments, but the local funds aren't enough. So they will need new schools, new recreation areas, swim facilities, etc., etc. And they will not get any additional funds for development in order to meet these demands, even though this is such an important change. So in Sweden, for example, the problem is that companies keep most of the profits from extracting resources like minerals or wind energy, and local communities receive very little, even though they are the site where the change is happening. So this means that globally important issues and the globally green transition drains local regions where the change is happening, where it takes place. So in conclusion, this ongoing transformation in Boden highlights both like the promise and the challenges of green industrial development that is happening in rural areas in Sweden. And Boden's situation reminds us that rural areas are not monoliths. Each region faces their own challenges and opportunities, but funds are needed in order to not drain these communities.
Thank you, Lisa. It's really perplexing that there's very little compensations for the municipalities. They give their land for a factory, but there's not much in return. So how we could actually keep on like this, using the landscape as we do. So it's really interesting to look at this. Thank you. Let us touch upon tourism a little bit. So Helena, tell us a little bit about that. How those natural values in local landscapes with increased pressure, how they can handle such pressure.
Yes, thank you, Kamil. It is a tricky question. I will talk about this overused areas, you could say, for outdoor recreation. Here we have a challenge with practicing free outdoor recreation in the densely populated Scania, combined with a desire for Scanians to discover new places and spend even more time outdoors, of course. And yeah, of course, it's nature and interesting landscapes that attract tourists, which is good. But the main challenge is sustainable mobility and public transports, and that is a problem that falls in the responsibility of the municipality. Here, this example is Kullaberg, a very beautiful place, granite cliffs that you can see. And the challenge here is basically it's very, very well visited during 2 months. And the rest of the year, no tourists at all because of our Swedish climate, of course. But during the tourist period, many tourists are coming here, and there are not enough parking places, and we can't build anymore either. It's a nature reserve. The municipality don't really know what to do, but what they did is to show on their homepage. It's the municipality's homepage where this nature reserve has a page, and there you can see the number of vacant parking lots. Very small thing, but one thing that they try to do. This is some pictures from the area to show that it's a beautiful place. They do also on their homepage write and describe other ways of traveling to Kullaberg, this area, and describing that you need to take care of the nature, to try to educate people to behave as a good tourist in this quite sensible landscape, but it is more sensible because there are so many tourists coming here. Another example is a national park, Stenshuvud, that you can see the blue dot on the map, and it's actually the other area was, you can see on the west side up in Scania, you can see that the arable land is taken over by forest, and that is where we have this ridge, and the agricultural land turns into granite and forest, and this is where these two places are situated that are very popular because it's so different from the rest of the landscape in Scania. And in this area, it's also the director of the national park is then to describe how the entire budget for management and nature conservation work went to visitor management, and daily maintenance was set aside. It's about 400,000 to 500,000 visitors a year in quite a small national park. It's only 350 hectares. Part of that is actually the sea.
Right. Yes, it's really interesting to look at the high peak, how the high peak of tourism can affect the landscape and how we could actually help to manage it. And I guess it can connect to Mazuri, the Masuria area where our public is listening to us. That's also the very big challenge that they are facing, the high peak and a very big pressure on the nature. So thank you very much, Helena. But you have another example, which is really interesting and hopefully a hopeful thing.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about co-management and participation in a rural context, right?
Exactly. We finally have one example of the opposite, how we can create tourist destination and attractive places where there are nothing and no money, as we seldom have outside the city center. So it is an example from the Svenmanska Park in Bräkne-Hoby, a place in the southern part of Sweden, and it's a village with about 2,000 inhabitants about. I will talk about this as an alternative strategy for managing green spaces in peri-urban settings, and it is actually the reason for the entire part is that it was started as a 3-year partnership between the municipality, it is Ronneby, that is the municipality, but also a local association and SLU, that is our university. So it was 3 parts involved in the starting, the birth of this park. And this picture shows how now I talk about the organization between the users of the park and the managers, the municipality. But the example is actually the urban green environment, meaning the park. So here we have the municipality that went in with the big machines and also paid for soil, and they paid for the plants. while the university, together with a local association, among other association, it was a local, horticultural association with a lot of knowledge on plantings. So the design was made by the university and this local association. Here we see the municipality, their machines, and here we have the plants that the municipality paid for, but the local association did plant according to the plans that they had made. So here we can see the park, a park in the making, so to say. And it's also that the daily maintenance is done by this local association and also some people from the university, and they should add that they live here, so they are part of it locally. They know people here also. This is after 2 years, I think. And here we have the local people from the local association, people that make sure that it looks good. They live here, so they are here on a daily basis and they cost nothing. But when they need to change plants, maybe something die or they need something that costs money, they can turn to the municipality and ask for their help. And it is organized like that, that here you can see that the maintenance, it's actually this, I call them the fika group. And in Sweden, fika is when you have a coffee break. So for this local association, it's really a social event to be involved in this maintenance, even though they're actually doing the work that in the city, the municipality is doing this. So for them, it's important. They have social value. And what I said about the management, that they have in the municipality of Ronneby, they have something they call beautification money that local associations can apply for. And that is what they use for these new plants or more soil or other water, of course, or maybe stones or other material they need. So in that way, it is a form of co-management that is in this area works very, very good. So it was a way of introducing something positive that can happen with all our challenges that we did talk about previously.
Yes, thank you very much, Helena. So I think that's the end of the presentation, and we are very happy that we could present both the challenges, but also some examples how we are dealing with the challenges.